Going on, bitches? Hey, it's coffee time with Tommy C. Let's talk about what's going on this weekend, the whole shot from this point schedule, what's going on in hockey, and all that good stuff. First of all, I want to make a special announcement. There will be a special In the Crease with Tommy C. with me and Jeff the Huffman. It's going to be all-star talk. We're going to be taking your calls, talking about the game, giving you details, times when it's going to be on. Jeff spent the whole day studying the All-Star game, so we're going to talk about it all night. It's going to be a big blast. Look for it in the upper right-hand corner of your screen. We're going to make that happen. Okay, let's see what the Puck Daddy left us today. Let's see. I guess they got All-Star stuff going on down in Nashville. Oh, that ought to be fascinating and interesting. There's a picture of Gretzky and Mary Lemieux. That would be the 1994 uniform, if I'm not mistaken. Would have been on the Kings. Would have been on the Pittsburgh. I think that's more than likely Madison Square Garden. I think, unless he had the same uniforms 2 years in a row. And of course, there's the whole Dennis Wideman situation. I'm sure we'll be touching on that, as well as the absolute outrage about Mr. John Scott. There was an article came out last night that John Scott wrote himself, and it set not only the hockey world on fire. I got people here in Europe that don't know anything about hockey, and they are super pissed. This is the Super Rocky story. Yeah, the NHL really blew this. I mean, it's really terrible how they treated this guy. I mean, if it's true, and I'm inclined to believe it is true, that John Scott was given a call by an NHL official who something tells me it's Cullen Campbell. Yeah, he used to coach the Rangers. Whether his kids would be embarrassed or not if he was in the All-Star game. I mean, these people in the NHL upper offices think very highly of themselves and very highly of an All-Star game that nobody watches. Well, I predict that's going to be very different this year. You can't buy the kind of press they're getting. And it's funny how the NHL All-Star game will probably get a few more eyes on it because the NHL made one horrible PR mistake after another. Not embracing this was the dumbest thing they ever could have done. And it also shows you a little insight that, maybe defense, as far as selling the game, and fighting is probably a lot more important than stick handling, passing, and maybe even a league that has more goals. I've never really understood the fact that the belief that more goals will solve all of the NHL's problems when it comes to interest in North America. I never really bought it. The most popular sport in the United States is football, and it's not really offense is a part of it, but it's not what just sells the game. The rough, tough guys sell the game. Macho stuff sells the game. The rough stuff sells the game. So I don't really understand why goals are going to completely turn the NHL around. And I don't really understand for a company that sells fighting in its video game. And it's really a part of its package, even though it's kind of under the surface. It's like, the redheaded stepchild fighting. It's the redheaded stepchild. I really don't understand why they're so opposed to having somebody like Scott in the All-Star game. I don't get that. I mean, it might give you a little insight that fighting's on its way out, and the NHL's accepted that, but they're going to do it slowly. And you could look at this as, well, maybe they're going to push it up a couple years because they can't keep John Scott's shirts on the shelf. And I don't think that's going to be lost in the NHL. Money changes everything because at the end of the day, that's what this is all about. It's about money. Dennis Wideman, on the other hand, I'm inclined to believe that he was telling the truth. Nobody's really talking about motive. If usually when a guy's hit and he's angry at the referee for missing the call, he looks at the referee and yells at him. Wideman makes a beeline to the bench. And having a concussion before, not knowing to be able to judge depth, distance, speed. Jeff Huffman made a mention in our chat that he saw white light, everything just went white, and then maybe that whiteness wears off, and then you realize somebody's in front of you, and you don't know whether it's somebody speeding down the ice or a referee, so you put your hands up. I'm inclined to believe him. At the same time, I can see why people are upset. Nobody likes to see a zebra go down like that. It's unacceptable for a league. I think guys should be banished from the league. But I don't believe for a second, not for a second, that he did this on purpose. You call me crazy, stupid, I don't really care. I believe it, and I notice most people that have played sports before are more open to the fact that he didn't do this on purpose, and more people that, I don't know, have never laced up a skate, have never done much of anything, are a bit overweight, are the ones condemning him. So, look, you could be right. You guys could be right, but it doesn't make any sense. No history, no motivation to do it on the ice, and the fact that he made a beeline towards the bench. It's very possible that he had no idea where he was. It's completely believable. I've seen pictures of Wideman's eyes on the bench. The only thing that's bizarre about it is that he didn't get a concussion check, which really doesn't help his case, and it's not going to. He's more than likely going to get a minimum 10-game suspension. Incidental or purposeful contact with the referee is not tolerable in the National Hockey League. It's not tolerable at all, whatsoever. So whether it's purposeful or not, it's a minimum 10-game suspension unless the NHLPA gets involved. It's going to be very interesting what happens with Dennis Wideman going forward. All right. In the Crease with Tommy C, a special Friday night episode about the All-Star Game, 3:30 Eastern Standard Time, 9:30 European Time. I hope you guys are there to check it out. I'm really excited. Jeff Huffman's going to be excited. We're going to be taking your calls. You know what? It's going to be phenomenal.
Southern boys with the farmer strength. Ain't nobody man enough to feel the pain. And you could be next, you better give respect, cause ain't nobody breaking this redneck. No, they don't want none. No, they don't want none. They don't want none. No, they don't want none. They don't want none. No, they don't want none. They looking scared, no, they don't really want none. And I'm a Mack truck, don't get run over. We some country boys working overtime, boys. Kings of the South, we never had nothing. Blue collar boys doing